All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a pretty wild theory, one that could completely flip what you think you know about ancient history. The core idea is this. What if the great epics of India, the ones we're often told are just myths, are actually meticulously recorded history?
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. This is the central claim we're exploring today. The idea that these ancient epics aren't just stories, they're history. And the proof? Well, it's supposedly been hiding in plain sight this whole time, written in the stars above us, and, get this, encoded right inside our own cells.
So, the big question is, are we talking about history or mythology? Can we actually use modern science to date these ancient epics? The argument we're digging into says yes. It pulls together evidence from a whole bunch of fields. We're talking astronomy, genetics, even paleontology, to try and pinpoint the actual dates of events from the Ramayana and the Mahabharata.
Okay, so let's get into the first pillar of this argument, decoding an ancient cosmic clock. And yeah, that's as cool as it sounds. We're not starting by digging in the dirt. Instead, we're looking up, way up at the stars, using a really old astronomical text called the Surya Siddhanta as our guide. So what exactly is the Surya Siddhanta? Well, you can forget about it being just some old book. It's way more like a sophisticated scientific tool. I mean, think of it like a highly advanced computer program from the ancient world, one that was recording astronomical data with insane precision. And here's the kicker. According to the theory, the periodic updates made to this text weren't just for fun. They actually mark major historical moments. It's basically a cosmic calendar. And this is where it starts to get really mind-bending. The dates that this cosmic clock spits out are, well, they're ancient. We're talking 12,209 BC for the Ramayana, 5,561 BC for the Mahabharata. Now, how did they get these? By reverse engineering specific astronomical events that were recorded in the text, like the exact position of the pole stars or a specific tweet to a solar equation. These dates go way deeper into the past than conventional history usually accepts. It suggests a human story that's thousands of years older than what we're typically taught.
Okay, let's shift gears to the second pillar. This one brings the argument down from the vastness of space right into our own bodies. We're talking about a genetic echo of war. Because look, it's one thing to find a date in an old text. But the real question, can you find any physical, biological proof of these events in people alive today? 4 million. The Mahabharata describes a war on a scale that is just almost impossible to wrap your head around. The text claims 4 million male soldiers died in just 18 days. Now, to put that into perspective, most estimates put the entire world population back then at somewhere between 5 and 20 million people. This wasn't just a battle, it would have been a demographic catastrophe.
So, what happens when you remove that many men from a specific region all at once? You get a massive, dramatic population bottleneck. I mean, think about it. The ratio of men to women would have been completely thrown out of whack, almost overnight. The entire genetic landscape of that population would have been instantly and permanently altered. And believe it or not, modern science has a name for exactly this kind of event. It's called a Y chromosome bottleneck. Since the Y chromosome is passed down from father to son, a massive die-off of men creates a sharp crash in male genetic diversity. And the coolest part? It leaves a specific detectable signature in the DNA of their descendants, a signature that can be read thousands of years later. Okay, now this is where it gets really crazy. In 2015, a team of geneticists who had absolutely no connection to this historical theory, by the way, they found evidence of a massive Y chromosome bottleneck. And guess when it happened? Roughly 7,500 years ago, lining up perfectly with the date the astronomical data gave for the Mahabharata. The scientists themselves couldn't explain it. They just guessed it was caused by some unknown cultural changes. And then you look at where this genetic event happened. This data is pretty much the heart of the whole genetic argument. It shows that the bottleneck, that dip in male diversity, was deepest, it lasted the longest, and it hit first, right in India. From there, you can see the impact kind of ripple outwards. It shows up later and is less severe in the Middle East and then Europe. The theory proposes this is evidence of people migrating out of India after the war. The genetic ground zero matches the location of the epic perfectly.
All right, on to our third and final pillar. This one ties the astronomical timeline and the genetic echo to the Earth itself.
We're looking at geology and the fossil record to see if they can back up some of the descriptions found in these ancient texts. So, shifting Earth and forgotten creatures.
So first up is this idea called Earth crust displacement theory. The easiest way to think about it is to picture the Earth's crust like the loose peel on an orange. The theory suggests this entire peel can shift all at once, moving continents around relative to the poles. It's a pretty controversial idea, but it fascinated even Einstein, and proponents use it to explain some big geological mysteries, like how parts of Antarctica might have been ice-free once upon a time, which would line up with ancient descriptions of habitable lands in the south.
Okay, but check out this incredibly specific detail from the Ramayana. The text describes the city of Lanka as being guarded by elephants, but not just any elephants. It says they had 2, 3, and even 4 tusks. Now, for centuries, a detail like that is exactly the kind of thing people point to and say, see, pure fantasy, just a myth.
But hold on. The fossil record says they were real. Paleontology has confirmed that creatures called gomphotheres, which looked a lot like elephants and had 4 tusks, actually existed. And here's the clincher. They went extinct around 9,700 BC, or about 11,700 years ago. And what was the date the astronomical clock gave us for the Ramayana? Around 12,000 BC. The timing is almost a perfect match.
So let's step back and look at the big picture. We're talking about redrawing the map of the ancient world. When you take these 3 very different lines of evidence, the cosmic clock from astronomy, that genetic echo in our DNA, and the clues from the fossil record, and you weave them together, well, they start to paint a picture of our ancient past that is very, very different and much, much older than the one we're used to. So what does this new map of history look like? Well, for one, it suggests this huge, ancient cultural landscape stretching all the way from Syria to Indonesia. It flips the script on human migration, suggesting that major movements may have come out of India, not just into it. It offers a potential historical explanation, an epic war, for a genetic event that scientists can actually see and measure today. And maybe most importantly, it suggests that the line we draw between myth and history might be a whole lot blurrier than we ever thought.
And that really leaves us with this final, pretty mind-blowing question to chew on. If our history is written in our genes and in the stars, what other secrets are just sitting there waiting for us to find them? What else could we learn about our past if we started looking at our oldest stories not just as fantasy, but as a kind of roadmap, just waiting for the tools of modern science to come along and finally decode it?